Hi, I hope you're well. I'm Miranda, the founder for Marketing for Health Practitioners. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about websites. So in the process or the flow of how a prospective client or patient first hears about you, right through to when they come and see you for an appointment, what are those steps that need to happen throughout that process? So initially, it starts with marketing activities that are getting you and your practice in front of clients that might need your help. And so those activities can consist of things like Google Ads, social media. So you might have an active Facebook page or Instagram, Facebook group. You might be sending out a newsletter every couple of weeks, but all those activities, they're driving everyone to the same place, and that is your website. So your website has a massive responsibility and job to do in giving people the confidence to take that next step. So that how your website looks in terms of how professional it looks, its look and feel, how up to date the site is, how easy it is to navigate around the site. Is it responsive on your phone? Because most people will be looking at it on their phone. But also the information that's on your website has to provide that extra value, that information, and that confidence that someone goes, oh, right, so this practice looks really reputable. I've learned a lot on their website in terms of things that I might be able to do in my own life. The practitioners all seem really qualified. Their approach to care seems really good. I feel like I'll be genuinely really cared for if I decide to pick this practice for me. And it's also super easy for me to take that next step and book an appointment. So your website can basically make or break your marketing plan. So I always say there's no point setting up marketing activities to help you get in front of new patient appointments if they all come to your website and your website is just doing a really poor job in convincing someone that you're the right health practitioner for them. And it's not convincing them as in tricking them into thinking that they should definitely book an appointment, but it's making sure that it accurately represents who you are and what you do, and your amazing experience and credibility, and everything that you can offer patients, and the difference that you can make in their life if they decide to select you as their health practitioner or as their practice. And so we can't let, the website has to do its job. Because if it doesn't do its job, then you won't see that interest or that inquiry coming through, and you'll really struggle to book new patient appointments. So when we're thinking about what information or content should be on a website, there's sort of information or sections that I typically recommend for a practice website. And I'm happy to share this document if anyone wants it. So obviously when people first land on your site, they typically are going to the homepage. So it's really important on that homepage for there to be a summary explaining what you do, your approach to patient or client care, and why you're different. Because if someone doesn't pretty quickly go, oh, it seems that I've landed on the right website, so it seems like they can probably help me with the issues that I think I'm struggling with. They seem really credible. They seem really compassionate and caring. I really understand why they do what they do. They will seem to genuinely care about me if I decide to book an appointment with them. Another area that's really important is the About section. So that's typically where you have yourself or and your other practitioners that work with you. So the About page, which typically has your photo and a biography, is a great opportunity to tell your story. So to let prospective and current patients and clients know why you chose to become a health practitioner and specialize in your area of health, why you're so passionate about what you do and making a difference in the lives of your clients, It's also a page, obviously, that you can demonstrate your expertise through highlighting your training and experience. Another section which is really important is what I tend to call the issues we can help with. So, and it doesn't have to be called this, but it's basically a section where you're talking about the challenges or the issues or the health concerns that you basically specialize or focus in, because you have to remember that people are typically not searching for a therapy or a treatment or a service or an approach that you do. They're more searching for the things that are going on with them and how and seeking help for those issues. So someone's probably not going to search for cognitive behavioral therapy, but they'll search for help with anxiety, help with depression, psychologist for depression. So this is an area that you can specify all the typical areas or issues or challenges that you help with. You can provide extra information. So it's a section where you can educate and add value as well. So to help people better understand what might be going on for them. And what they can also potentially do in their own life as well. So really that empowering information, so things they can do for their loved ones or for themselves in their own life to take positive steps forward. But also you can then tie those in terms of the approach you use. So you can say that, yes, autism, you can explain autism, things to look out for if you think your child might be struggling and potentially have autism. And then at our practice, this is the way we approach children with autism, which you can then link through to a separate page within the therapies and services and treatment section. So this section here this is where you're listing basically what you do, and depending on what you do, this is going to be called something different. So if you're a psychologist, obviously it makes more sense to call them therapies. If you're a different practitioner, it might be services or treatments. But it's an area where you can have a page that really explains that, say, therapy or service in detail, but making sure it's in really client-friendly language. So we also want to make sure that we really reduce the fear so without using scary technical language. And so it connects with people, they can easily understand what they're reading, and it also then gives them the confidence and the trust that you understand what's going on for them, and you have the expertise and the approach that's going to give them the best chance of helping them with their particular issue or concern. Another section I think is really important is when to seek help. So sometimes people just aren't sure when to seek help just because they simply don't know, or sometimes they see it as a weakness. When it comes to mental or emotional health, sometimes it's, people don't want to accept or admit they need help, and maybe they should just toughen up, and get on with it. But this is a section where you can really help educate about when is the right step to seek help. And that could be for themselves or their child. Another section I think is really important is a blog or a latest news. So that's basically an article section. So writing blogs is obviously time consuming, and it's not always easy to write regular articles, but having a blog or a latest news section on your website serves a few really good. Blog on your website has a number of really good benefits, that's what I'm trying to say. So if possible, I think, posting an article, uploading an article every 2 weeks is good. If you can do it every 2 to 3 weeks, that's fine. It doesn't need to be massive in length either. But a blog really helps you add value because you can help educate people, and you can give them tips and advice of things they can do in their own life or to help the people that they love. It's educational, really helps build credibility because it shows that that you are a leader and an expert in that area. It's really good for search engine optimization as well. So that's helping your website move up through the ranks in Google. And it also provides that first piece of content that you can then repurpose. So from that blog article, you can post it on your social media platforms. You can turn it into a video. You can potentially turn it into a webinar. And you can also include it in a newsletter if you're sending a newsletter out to your current and prospective clients. Another area that can be helpful or beneficial, only if this makes sense to you and your practice, and whether you have time to implement something like a patient initiative. But patient initiatives are a great way to engage with prospective patients or clients in a gentle way of encouraging them to reach out and contact you. It's sort of that no pressure that, before booking an appointment, is there something that they can do to interact with you, to learn more about you, to suss you out a bit more about whether you're the right practitioner or practice for them. But something's also actually going to help them and add value as well. So that can be something like you can have an assessment that they can do on your website, maybe a free 15-minute chat with a counsellor if they're not quite sure that counselling is the right thing for them. You might have a dedicated clinic that you can promote on your website, maybe a different patient or client group meetup that you can promote. Other things like talks or webinars and seminars that you and your other practitioners do, either in person or online. And finally, just making it really clear in your website how to book an appointment. So when your website's done an amazing job and people are like, oh, wow, I really feel like this is the practice or practitioner for me, how do I book an appointment? So I always recommend having a dedicated page for this and having it very visible no matter where people are on your website. So making it really easy for people to know how to call, have a form that they can complete, what fees are involved. I feel it's really important to be transparent, and these days people really expect full transparency. And it's also an area where you can really specify who you see, but also who you don't see, to make sure that only the people contacting you are going to be more likely to need your help, and that saves you time and it saves them time as well, so they can go find a practice that is more right for them. So I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you'd like this document. I'm more than happy to email it through, so just pop a comment in the comments below.